a lot of responsibility, also a lot of headaches, a lot of fires to put out. There was times where we were working, 60, 80 hours a week. I just had a passion for the real estate stuff. And I had tried to do a little bit on the side, not having all the pieces of the puzzle, only having limited understanding about what I could do with deal structure, about raising money, trying to just take a new CRM and that goes hand in hand with the education and the deal structure and how to be successfully using it. And then to have the support, have the calls. So whenever a question comes up, so to have someone and a group of people to run that by and be able to talk to is also a huge key to success. She had inherited a house. She was behind on taxes. I went to a money lending group and they funded me the $170,000. Going to be her $50,000 at closing and the $120 pay off the tax-lien. So I sold it for $880,000. Closing table when we sold it, my proceeds check was $194,865.34. The greatest thing about going from a full-time job, working for someone else and making them all the money and doing this is the time that you get, time that you can open up for yourself. That's life by design.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another client highlight for REI Automated. Today, I'm excited to talk to my buddy, Michael Nicolosi. He's had some awesome wins. He's really done, honestly, dude, a ton of wonderful stuff. Your story's awesome. I want to inspire people. And if you're listening to this, if you're already in REI Automated, you're going to learn some stuff from Michael. He's got a wonderful story. If you're deciding whether or not maybe you're on the fence about joining REI Automated, you're going to learn a lot about Michael. You're going to learn some things about REI Automated. So I'm excited to get started today. Michael, thanks for being here, brother. I'm super stoked.
Glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. All right. I want to start from the beginning for a couple just like, let me know who Michael is. When did you get started in real estate? And tell me just about the first maybe year or so.
So, I've dabbled in real estate for a long time. I was a regional manager for a large industrial construction company and was doing well, but I always had an interest in real estate. So I started a company back in 2008 and did real estate a little bit on the side, bought some tax sales and just little bit by little bit while I was very busy in construction. But I had kind of a passion for real estate and I wanted to ultimately kind of end up in that space. And I was working myself to death in construction.
And you owned that company, or are you an employee in that company?
I was an employee in that company.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was regional manager. I ran the Western region of the United States at 15 states. And,
how many people did you have underneath your charge?
We had a regional office with a few project managers and a few salespeople, a few warehouse guys. And then we had crew members, foremen, and superintendents. And then we would use union workers. And we had jobs where we had 80 Boilermakers on a project. Yeah. We had $20 million projects. And
you're very humble. You keep on using the word few, but you had a lot of people underneath your command, right?
There's quite a few, but it comes with a cost, right? So it's a lot of responsibility, also a lot of headaches, a lot of fires to put out. There was times where we were working, 60, 80 hours a week. There was times where I was pulling all-nighters in the office just to make sure we were successful. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, I either need to keep expanding my team and have us doing less, or I just got to switch gears. I'm just killing myself. And the company was like, no, you're doing great how you are, making good money. Yeah, you're
making them tons of good money. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Eventually, I just said, all right, that's it. I got to walk. And I went to real estate full time.
Okay. And what was it? Was there a moment or an event or something that happened that really was like that turning point for you to turn it into from a side hustle? And, well, you started off as a side hustle. You had, I feel like, two moments, actually. One where you're like, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to start doing real estate. But then another light bulb moment, if you will, that happened later. Can you tell me about both of those?
So, yeah, I just had a passion for the real estate stuff. And I had tried to do a little bit on the side and just never had the full, I never had all the pieces to the puzzle, right? So I had bits and pieces. I learned as much as I could here and there, but doing it on the side. But then once I was presented with this ultimatum basically for myself, do I want to keep killing myself for another company, or do I want to build something for myself? Then finally I was able to say, you know what, I'm going to go all in. And that's when I found REI Automated as well as Investor Creator.
What year was that? We fast forwarded a lot of years. Just we went from 2008 to 2010, 20 something,
I believe I
22.
started with REI Automated in 2022,
I think so.
I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot had happened during this time. I want to dive into this just a little bit more before we get into 22 and on. From 2008 to 2022, what do you feel like was the biggest thing that was holding you back? When you were in this dabble phase, what was the biggest thing that you were struggling with?
Not having all the pieces of the puzzle. So
Okay.
only having limited understanding about what I could do with deal structure, limited understanding about raising money.
Yep.
I had basically tried to use my own money all the time.
Yep.
And I had some experience with some hard money lenders and things like that,
Right.
but just didn't have, and I didn't have a system either, a system in place. So even
Yeah.
when I first started running PPC, I was keeping track of my leads on a spreadsheet, on a Excel spreadsheet, scheduling myself to do follow-up texts and follow-up calls.
Okay. So you've mentioned twice now, like the biggest thing that was holding you back was not having all the pieces to the puzzle. I'm making a mental note here to talk really specifically about that here in a little bit. But if you don't mind, I like to ask you this question. So you signed up for a couple programs back to back, and both of them had some hefty financial commitments of signing up, right? It's not a low barrier of entry to get into this. And so what hesitations did you have, and then what convinced you to move forward anyway?
The hesitations were that it was a pretty good investment, with Investor Creator, and you're committing to, even with the CRM, you're committing to a decent amount of money going out the door before you necessarily have that steady income coming in. So there's
Yeah.
always a little bit of hesitancy, or just you feel, it's a risk. You feel, is it going to pay off? Is it going to work?
Yeah. There's a
And
fear.
so,
Chicken and the egg probably comes to mind too.
yeah. And luckily I had saved up enough money. So I did start this process when I just chose to go into it, 100% and go full time. I did start with, over $100,000 of capital that I could use. And I was able to start with that. So that helped.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I still was just starting the journey to the full-time all-in real estate investment. Even though I had some knowledge to start with and some cash flow, I was really starting with the new strategy, and the new knowledge of sub two, and some later, and deal
Yeah.
structure that was going to work a lot better.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's talk about how REI Automated has actually worked for you. So you brought up not having all the pieces of the puzzle from 2008 to 2022. For anybody who's new watching this, that you don't really know anything about REI Automated, we're built on 3 pillars, right? Pillar number 1 is education. So this is all of our core curriculum that we put you through. It's 13 different courses teaching you deal structure, deal analysis, sales and negotiation, raising private money, taking it from contract to close, all the things that Michael's been talking about. That's all under pillar number 1, which is education. Then pillar number 2 is operating system. So now here's the tool, here's the resource that you need in order to execute what I've just taught you in pillar number 1, right? So I'm teaching you how to talk to sellers. Now here's the script. I've taught you how to analyze deals virtually. Now here's the deal analyzer. I've told you that speed to lead is super important and you need to be tracking your KPIs and following up with them. Now here's the CRM in which you need to do that. So tools and resources, this is all in pillar number 2, which is operating system. And then pillar number 3 is support. And actually, Michael, you started 2022. Man, when you started, did we have Nate on the team? I don't think so.
It was just before that. Yeah, he came on shortly.
That's right. So 2021, we only had those 2 pillars. That's all you got. Then later on in pillar number 3 came up right after you signed up with us in 2022. I was doing these audits with our clients, and I'm like, why are they not as successful as I think they should be during, given a certain period of time? And I find out that, well, they just need support. Like I'm thinking, well, you have the education, you have the tools and the resources, but then, fear of the unknown. I'm going out there. Real estate sometimes feels like the wild, wild west, and you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. And so we added this support pillar. This is where we have community leaders, which Michael is a part of. We have community leaders to give you guidance, to help you with deals. You have a dedicated client success manager that's a one-on-one coach. You have calls with me. We have 5 different calls throughout the week, 3 of them that I lead, 4 of them actually now that I lead. And so this is pillar number 3, which is the support pillar. Now, going all the way back, that was for anybody who's new to REI Automated. Michael, you had mentioned not having all the pieces to the puzzle. We have 3 different pillars in REI Automated: education, systems, and support. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, actually. Which one of these things did you sign up for? And which one of them have you found most helpful, the most value in your business?
So when I first got into it, I got into the full blown. I went all in. So I
Yeah.
got the
The
most,
big
yeah,
package.
the big package. Yep. I got the big package because I knew that I would want to scale eventually. And so I went
Yeah.
right into scale. And then I actually picked up Dispo as well. So I used
That's
Dispo as
right.
well. So, and it was huge because trying to just take a new CRM and say, okay, I can figure it out. You make so many mistakes. But with
Mm.
leading you step by step and using the exact strategies that you want to use,
Hmm.
that goes hand in hand with the education and the deal structure and how to be successful using it, right?
Yeah.
So that's huge. That's huge. It makes a huge difference. And then as you jump in and you're using it and you gain that real world experience, you're seeing that it's actually happening just like they've talked about, just like we've learned about, you know? And then to have the support, have the calls. So whenever a question comes up, whenever something is different, which every real estate deal is different, right? There's new challenges, new
Yeah.
obstacles come over, something comes up. There's always going to
Yeah.
be something. And so to have someone and a group of people to run that by and be able to talk to
Yeah.
is also a huge key to success because there's really not anything that's going to come up that someone's not going to be able to help you with. So
That's right. So I don't want to answer the question for you, but what I heard was you really were keyed in or cued into the operating system, like you're talking about the CRM and the software and stuff like this in the beginning, but you've also found a lot of the value coming from the support element as well, which I think is cool. I find cool because you've been in real estate for a pretty significant amount of time, almost 20 years at this point.
yeah, I mean, there's always things that come up, and the more deals you do, the more things you come up against,
Right.
and so the support definitely helps.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for saying that. I want to get to an emotional level, right? Because we're both. I'm a very masculine man, former Marine. Mike's got this big burly beard. He's a big game hunter. We're all manly men here. But on an emotional level, how do you feel now with REI Automated compared to before?
So overall, with the business or with the REI made in the software,
I'm going to leave that as an open-ended question. You can answer it how you wish.
by using it over time, you get more and more comfortable with it. And that can be a good thing, and you can also in some ways get complacent because I've had times where I get complacent and then
Mm,
don't do things. I start to say, well, do I use that as much? And and in the beginning, I would suggest that everyone just follow everything to the T because
yeah.
it
Oh, thank you for saying that.
works.
Somebody, one of our clients right now needs to hear that, and I'm going to send him this video when we're done. Use it to a
Sure.
T, said from the man himself. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue. I have somebody that I
Yeah, no
in
worries.
the mind.
And so and it's like that with anything, the more you get complacent or more you start to kind of trim or cut corners or think you know everything, those are when things start to go wrong and things
Yeah.
start to happen and you have to pay for that, right?
Yeah.
You can do things. I always say if you do things the right way, you can always explain yourself. Things always work out one way or another
Right.
if you do the right thing.
Right.
And so but emotionally, the greatest thing about going from a full-time job working for someone else and making them all the money and doing this is the time that you get, the time that you can open up for yourself. I
Yes.
my boys football, they play lacrosse, they play football. I'm always at the games.
Yes.
I'm available to coach. I also serve in my church, so I'm able to
Yes.
serve more and spend more time with that. And that's life by design. I've heard you talk about life by
Lifestyle by design. That's right.
exactly.
Rather than by default.
Right. There becomes a point where the time is worth more than the money.
Mm.
And not that this happens fast and not that this is like get rich quick or anything like that,
Yeah.
but you have the control.
Yeah.
So you can control the amount of money you make, you can control the amount of time you have. And that's what's been most rewarding. I feel
Mm.
blessed.
I love that you said that. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Same, man. I get caught by my team. This is not really part of the client highlight, but it's been coming up a lot because I just hired 5 new team members. And I tell them like, hey, call me whenever you need me. Every time, the last 6 times in a row that my acquisition manager calls me, I'm at the ball field at my son's baseball game or his baseball practice. He's like, hey man, what you got going on? Oh, I'm just out here in the field with Alex. He goes, no kidding. 6 times in a row. It's cool, man. Spending time with family is so important because there's always more dollars. There's always more deals, but there's never more time. It's
Right.
finite. You can never make more of it. And so, yeah, man, you live a mission-driven life. I like to say, live a lifestyle by design and live a life on purpose. And if you can get those two things, if you have the time but no purpose, right? No higher calling. What are you living life for? What do you have all this time for? What do you have all this money for? But if you have both the ability to say yes to things and a reason to do it, it makes life a life worth living. Sorry to interrupt. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna say it's true. And even with your kids, I have a sophomore in high school and he's in lacrosse and football and he does all this stuff. And I feel like I'm running out of time. I have 2 more years with my son to be able to prepare him for life, right? Prepare him for the world. And make sure that he at least has a good starting point in life. And I feel like in a lot of experiences that we have together. So time, it's huge.
Yes. Amen. Thanks for saying that, man. All right. Got into REI Automated 2022. You've been with us for, I don't know, let's just call it 2.5 years or something like this, somewhere between 2 and 3 years. Let's talk about what you've actually achieved. I know that you recently submitted a little form of ours with a win. You have an awesome deal under your belt. I know nothing about it. Walk me through that step by step. Let's go chronologically. First, how'd you find that deal? Was it a PPC lead, a referral?
It was a PPC lead.
Okay. All right.
So I had this woman try to contact me and I got back with her and she was going through a really rough situation. She had inherited a house from her mother. She was behind on taxes, so she had a tax lien. And I chose to highlight this deal just because this deal taught me so much. There's so much going on in this deal and things that just never had come up before. And so she was in a tax sale. Basically, they sold her lien, but in New Jersey, you have 2 years.
Oh, this is the Jersey deal.
Jersey deal, yeah.
Okay, I do know. I cheated. I know what the deal is just because I remember from office hours.
So yeah, she was about to lose the house. They have a 2-year right of redemption in New Jersey, and she was at the end of the 2 years.
Right.
So she had $120,000 of taxes she owed, the arrears. And the ARV at the time was very unclear because PropStream was saying it was like 900,000 and Zillow was
right.
650.
Yeah.
It was like in the 700s. So it was like all
over the page.
Huge differences. And so I just tried to get the best deal I could, which I was glad to. That was aggressive with it. But her thing was she was literally about to lose everything.
Yeah.
She just needed help right now. We end up having to file a motion to intercede in the lawsuit. So we had an attorney immediately. He went to court the week she was going to lose it. He got in front of the judge and we filed this motion and presented a whole package of this is what we're going to buy it for. This is what we're going to do with it. This is what we're going to, this much for rehab. We had a whole package we had to submit and he approved it. And he said, go ahead and sell it to them instead. If we won't take it from you, go ahead and sell it to Chairman Real Estate.
Right. So rather than it going up for auction, right? Because that's exactly what would have happened to this. You got this tax lien. That's what happens with tax liens. What were the rest of the numbers? So if I remember ARV, questionable, but somewhere between 600 and 800, let's say that. Was there a mortgage?
No mortgage.
No mortgage. How much were the repairs?
Repairs, originally I thought they would be somewhere around 50, 60,000, but they ended up being 105,000.
A lot more. That's right. Huge renovation. So originally 50, it ended up being 100. There was tax lien. So we had some arrears. That was 120, 130? Yep. 120 in arrears. What did the seller want to walk away with? Cash in hand?
So she really wanted to, she had that sale fail. She had it under contract supposedly at like $900,000, $950,000.
Okay.
And she only owed the 120 basically. But what she really wanted was to be able to buy a house on the coast, just free and clear. And the one she was looking at was like $400,000. Yeah. And so her lowest possible walkaway was that $450,000.
Okay. So you got it for 450. You still had to pay the taxes, right? So you're at 4,570-ish.
Yep, ish.
So then add the 105,000 in repairs now. 675. Yeah, 670. I'm real bad at math. 675. I should have brought my calculator.
Right in there. Right in there. And the thing that made this deal really nice was she was willing to work with me. We did some now, some later.
Yes. Tell me about that. What was the down payment?
So she needed some money to move and to be able to live on temporarily and things like that. So she was willing to take $50,000 at closing. Okay. Then she took a note for $400,000.
Great.
And
And
the
was,
terms of the note was when I sell the property, you get $400,000.
yes, fantastic. So you had no liability, no payments to her the whole time that you were renovating the house. You were holding it. The only thing that you had to come up with was repairs of 105 and arrears for the tax sale at 120, plus miscellaneous holding taxes, insurance, trash, utilities, things like this. Okay,
Right.
cool. How did you finance it?
So I went to a money lending group, basically a hard money lender,
Okay.
a private money group, and they funded me the $170,000. Which is
Okay.
going to be her $50,000 at closing and the 120 pay off the tax lien.
Everything that you needed,
Everything you
minus
need.
miscellaneous holding costs.
Right.
Fantastic.
And then for the $100,000 of the repair costs I needed, the repair funds I needed, I got a private money lender to fund 70,000 of it.
Yes.
And that was
Fantastic.
enough to do all the repairs at the time, I thought.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
ended up spending more, obviously,
Sure.
because we ended up having some surprises, but there was enough room in the deal to.
Absolutely. Okay. Fantastic. Were there any challenges? Was there a tough negotiation getting the seller to agree to some now, some later? Was there snags with the financing? There was obviously some snags with the renovation. Like, tell me about what were some of the key challenges that you had with this deal?
So some of the challenges were the fact that it's in New Jersey was one.
Yep. And where are you?
I'm in Utah.
Have you been to New Jersey?
I've been to New Jersey.
Have you been to the city that this house was in?
No,
Did you ever visit this house at any point in time during the renovation or selling sequence? Okay.
I did one time.
What'd you go there for?
I went there to just check on the situation when we started the renovation to see what they were dealing with. So I was having
Okay.
contractors say, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. And so there's a time where I went in right as we were getting started with that.
Cool. Great. Because you have all this construction background. You've already purchased the property. It was not needed to get into the property. You could have done this virtual, but because of your construction background, you're like, hey, let me get some boots on the ground here. Let me actually put eyeballs on myself and tell you what to do, give you some direction. I like that. That was a good judgment call. Okay.
And we don't do that on every deal. So most deals we don't.
Right.
If there's enough money in it and you feel like it's necessary, then
absolutely. I just did it myself. I do it probably once a year. I have to go up and go to court or whatever, intervene. Yeah. Okay. Not bad. Any other challenges that you experienced with this house?
So we had some surprises because we had the home inspector show up and then she had dogs and she wasn't very accommodating to the inspector. So he was very limited what he was able to get information on. We had a realtor go by for a CMA and they went in, same thing. They were able to get very little access and just get some things. So it's unclear exactly what we're at when we first started with the deal, right?
Yeah.
So when we got into it, and that's why I wanted to be so aggressive with the amount of money and how much margin too, because there was a lot of unknowns and there was risk.
Right.
Absolutely. You have more risk, you have to offset that by potential margin, right? Because you don't know exactly what's going to happen.
You don't want to lose money, right?
Right. So we had surprises. We had a whole area of the house that they had done basically an addition to.
Okay.
And they hadn't finished, so we had to finish all that.
Okay.
We just had things that the dogs had peed through the carpet and destroyed the subfloor, so we had to pull subfloor. So there was a bunch of things that just we originally didn't plan on.
Was this your first virtual renovation?
This was my first big renovation that was remote.
Cool. Okay. What did you end up selling it for? And what was your net profit when it was all said and done?
So I sold it for $880,000.
Nice.
The closing table when we sold it, my proceeds check was $194,865.34.
194 grand. And was that all profit?
Nope, because I had to pay back my hard money lender, my private money lenders, right? And I also had to pay myself back for the money I put into the renovation.
Okay.
So overall, the profit was probably right around 90K.
90. Okay, great. For your first renovation, that's virtual, dude. Especially with how many hiccups you experienced. My God, I remember this from the very beginning. Keith, should we get an attorney? Like, how do we do this whole intervention thing? There's a lot of snags in the beginning. We talked about this quite a bit. I remember at office hours, multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. So when it was all said and done, 90,000, what was the timeline from close to close?
So this was a really long deal. This one actually took almost 15 months.
Okay.
So
Over a year.
yeah,
Okay.
over a year. And that's the thing. When we do deal structure, you got to look at what's it going to be if I have to hold this longer. If it doesn't sell, some
Oh,
deals
what a
sell in less than
blessing
a
that you
month.
didn't have to make payments that whole
Right.
entire time.
Right. But my payoff for my hard money lender at the 170K that I borrowed was like $212,000.
He was stoked.
Yeah. So he got two extensions because I didn't set my terms long enough to begin
Yeah.
the turn. So he got
Yeah.
extensions out of me.
That's a big learning lesson.
Yep. Yep. Lots of
Yeah.
things learned on this one. And then the state of New Jersey, when we closed, they took $17,000 just because I'm out of state.
That's right.
My realtor fees was like $34,000 of the
Yeah,
deal.
it's so expensive.
And then we had other taxes. Taxes on the property were over $4,000 a quarter.
Yep.
So we're like $17,000 a year. So we had to
Yeah.
handle that. So if you look at just the dirty deal calculator, it looks like I should make like $200,000. All
But
said and
then you add
done.
time.
Holding cost, time.
Yes. And this is a big thing. I won't throw anybody under the bus, but there is a ton of people who teach us back of the napkin type of math on a deal analyzer. And when it is void of time, time kills all deals. And the longer you hold these, please understand. I have a house right now. Oh, it's the bane of my existence. I've held it for 2 years and 4 months, and I'm still going through it. It's the worst deal ever. We'll still make money on it, Lord willing, but it is just terrible. And if you analyze your deal void of time, you're going to lose money. You're
Right.
absolutely going to lose money. And so you have to account for time. You have to account for these holding costs. You have to account for reasonable worst case scenario. What if you had to sell it for a little bit less? What if your repairs go up from what you originally anticipate? So like
Right.
reasonable worst case scenario. I'm not saying add a buffer on top of a buffer, on top of a contingency, on top of a CYA, like a reasonable amount is good. Like you said, the more risk, the more you have to make sure that your margin is there so you don't lose money.
Right.
So you learned a lot of lessons. My next question is going to be a hard one. You had a lot of learning lessons. What do you feel is the biggest learning lesson from this deal? If you had to choose one, what would it be?
I think the biggest lesson on that one was just to make good deals, to negotiate good deals and be more picky and not think emotionally, but either it pencils out or it doesn't. Right? 'Cause
Yeah.
you look at a deal and you're like, oh, you get excited about it and you start feeling like this is good enough, but it's tight. You know what I mean? And those are the ones
Yeah.
that tend to cost you because,
Yeah.
well, it's good enough if you can sell it in a month or 2 months, but when
Right.
you're paying that mortgage payment on like a sub two for a while, that eats away all your profit, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so you might think that, okay, well, this is a good margin here, $20,000, $30,000 sounds like a lot of money, but that goes away really fast.
Oh, fast. Couple months.
Yep.
It's gone. That's right. Good word. Okay. Good learning lesson.
Yeah, the other thing is the amount of good you can do. So this woman, if you look at it, she sold a house that was almost $900,000 and she sold it for like 525,000. So you might be like, well, that's not a good deal for her. But she was in a position to lose everything. So she's
Yep.
been nothing but very grateful. She bought that house on the coast. She paid
Yep.
for it. She was able to do everything she wanted to do. She's so happy
She's
now.
got a beautiful water view every single day.
Yep. Yep. And she would have lost it. And so you're able to help quite a few people. And every deal, right? You want to help people when you buy houses, and you also want to help people when you sell houses.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror and feel like you're doing something good.
Yeah. And at the end, throughout the whole process, not just with the buy and the sell, but the contractors that you employ, the title company that you employed, all the people. I don't remember where I heard this, but there's a statistic that for every house that you do, you're fueling 40 people's jobs. With every single transaction, you're fueling 40 people's jobs. You're feeding 40 families. How cool. Like at what a huge level we get to make a positive impact in people's lives.
Absolutely.
That's great. All right. So you've had a lot of growth the last several years. You've seen some really good results. You've had this big win. What is your next big goal? Is it written? And what is your next big goal, especially now that you have REI Automated supporting you?
Well, you hear people talk about what they want out of the business, out of real estate, and a lot of people are trying to scale as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I could have scaled a while ago, and I could have started expanding. I could have had multiple employees. But for me, like I said, the time is worth more right now, especially with
Yeah.
kids where they are in their lives. And maybe I'll scale eventually, but right now I'm enjoying the time.
Mm.
So I
I
meter
love that.
my advertising, and I work it around my lifestyle by design.
Yeah.
And I've fought the temptation and the urge to want to scale. And that may not be right for everybody, because some people are going to be great at scaling and going to make a huge, company, and it's going to be amazing. But for
Yeah.
me, right now, I'm just enjoying the flexibility of my time. And after just
Yeah.
going hard with a big team and managing people, like, it's a nice break for me.
Yeah.
Eventually, I might want to scale and start growing. But I'm picky about my deals. I don't do that many deals. I could do a lot more deals,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm picky. I tend to say, you know what? It's Christmas vacation. Let's scale the marketing down and let's go skiing. Let's go
Yeah.
spend time with the boys.
Yeah.
And I just maintain my notes, and that's what's great too. You have the notes with cash flow coming in,
Passive income, right?
passive income, so you can do that. You have flexibility. Then I'll get that bug and be like, okay, let's acquire some houses, and then I ramp up
Mm-hmm.
marketing, and I'll try to acquire houses. And I meter myself. I try not to have more than 5 houses in inventory at one time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really healthy.
And
Good.
so I'm not getting
Shoot, I
myself.
mean, that's even a lot as a one-man show. You're a solopreneur, you're doing that's 5. Golly, that's
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Depending on what kind of deals they are and how you're selling them and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good
that's
deal.
that's the max I try to have. And then so that's really what I'm enjoying about this right now, is just the flexibility. Last week I built a chicken coop outside because I decided we want to have chickens and have some eggs. So I went to Home Depot and got a bunch of materials, and I had time
Yes.
to do it.
That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's really encouraging, man. I resonate with you a lot with like this is a different season for me and my family as well.
Mhm.
And it's good to be able to lean into that.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
Okay, last question. For anybody who is listening, you don't know anything about REI Automated, maybe you've had a call with me or you're following whatever social media and you're on the fence. You're listening to this. Speak to younger Michael 2.5 years ago, where you think about kind of the headspace that you were in before. What would you say to your future self?
I'd say go for it. I mean, I'd say go all in and learn it really well, thoroughly, and work the system, to a T, and believe in yourself, and believe in the process, and believe in this group, because
Mm,
and to be
mm,
successful, you can't be missing big chunks. You need to have a resource where you not only can have a system that's going to keep you on track, but also the education and also the support.
right.
It's huge. If I would have just been out there on my own and still doing it on spreadsheets, I'd be wasting a lot of time. A lot
That's right.
of time. And we just talked about how valuable time is.
Yeah.
REI Automated does is allows you to focus your time, and it allows you to track things, track deals, track leads, and to track your numbers, and allows you to save a lot of time and eliminate a lot of the waste.
Yeah. Fantastic.
That's been great.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't pay him to say that.
Nope.
Thank you, bro. You're
Still
fantastic,
here.
Michael.
I'm
Appreciate
still there
you.
after a few years, so it must be working.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And he still pays. I don't give him this crap for free.
Well worth it.
Thank you for sharing your journey, bro. Thank you for sharing your win, sharing your deal. Thank you for your kind words, your encouragement. Thanks for your story too. It's so unique. You're number 4, number 5, I think, and each person has such a huge, like vastly different story, different components, like, hey, Keith, this isn't my scale season. This is my season to spend time with my boys, to hang out with my family, to fill my cup, to feed, to be the man of the household, and to be the father for my children. What cool. Like, thank you for that inspiration. Thank you for that. Sometimes we need to hear that, like other fathers. I'm hoping that some other father says, God, Lee, like that's good word, bro. Thank you for that reminder. Everybody needs to know what's possible. When you, like you said, when you have the right education, you have the right systems, you have the right support. It's just like ingredients for baking a cake. You need flour, you need eggs, you need sugar. I've never made a cake before, so there's probably other ingredients, but I'm certain that there's a magic formula to make a cake. Well, what you need for a successful real estate investing business are those 3 things: education, system, support. With that, you're destined for success. Success is inevitable so long as you do not quit.
Absolutely.
Cool. With that being said, dude, congrats on all your success. You are so deserving of this. To 5 more deals. We're going to do it again. Thank you, brother.
5. Keep going.
Appreciate you sharing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's right.